Good evening. Lawyers for the economic freedom fighters have told the Equality Court sitting in Pretoria that the party and its leader, Julius Malema, are appalled by the use of misogynistic language against journalists. They were responding to the application by the South African National Editors Forum against the EFF. SANEF says the party and Malema have incited EFF supporters and other people to send threatening tweets to journalists for their reporting on the party. The EFF says that the people who actually sent the tweets should be held responsible and brought to court. Patricia Visagie, our reporter, spent the day in court. Patricia, good evening to you. Thank you for your time tonight. What were the main arguments from the EFF in court today?
Well, good evening, Stephen, and to, of course, our viewers. Now, it was day two of the legal battle between the EFF and SANEF. And I think the main argument was really that the EFF legal counsel advocate Judgement put forward a very strong case trying to convince the court that there was no legal basis for the Equality Court to actually hear this matter. And what he argued was that there was no jurisdiction, and therefore the whole matter in its entirety has to be dismissed. He also, of course, went at great length denying the so-called claims of harassment and intimidation that have been brought forward by, of course, the SANEF, claiming that this is what journalists have been experiencing at the hands of some EFF members, in particular those who troll journalists on social media, referring directly to some of the tweets that we have seen come out over the past month. And he says that the SANEF rather cannot prove that some of those tweets actually come directly from people that are affiliated to the EFF, and therefore you can't hold the EFF and its leadership accountable for faceless trolls on social media. And he goes a step further, saying that the EFF is in support with SANEF, saying that it is wrong for journalists to be attacked, to be bullied, and they would actually help where possible to try and, of course, protect journalists, saying that the EFF is always preaching a non-violent culture, and has also gone to the great length of actually urging its supporters to use superior logic rather than aggressive and violent tactics to engage in robust debate, in particular on social media.
How important is this argument about jurisdiction? If I've understood it correctly, it's really about whether this matter should be held in the Equality Court or actually in the High Court. Could SANEF lose the application just on this one issue alone?
Well, whether SANEF will lose the application or not, I think that will be a matter for, of course, the judge to decide, as she would have to peruse the arguments and the merits that have been brought before court. But what the EFF lawyer argued was that the merits that have been argued in court papers by SANEF legal counsel does not actually get support from the Equality Act. And that matter should have rather perhaps been handled by a different court and not the Equality Court. But of course, SANEF lawyers hit back, saying that the matter should not just be dismissed because it was heard on the wrong platform. What the court should then rather do, if the court does agree with the EFF that the Equality Act is not supporting the merits as they stand in argument before court, then the court should rather then refer the matter to the right legal platform so that it can be argued and pursued on the right, in the right court, rather. So that is rather the basis of what the EFF legal counsel was arguing, saying that it is not the right platform. But they're also arguing that actually there is no basis whatsoever. And what Tembeka Mngwetsobi argued was that some of the utterances by Julius Malema that actually has upset some of the journalists were not, it was not acts of defamation. As you would know, that some of the journalists are saying that they actually have been defamed, their reputations have been harmed, and therefore they feel intimidated, and they feel that the tactics by the EFF is actually inciting violence and perpetuating a culture of
Patricia Visagie, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid. Thank you very much indeed. Sabisa Makwetla standing by with the